Welcome. You're watching Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life, with your host, Danny Pabone and Rifle Scudder.
Welcome to Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life. As always, I'm here with my friend Rifle. Rifle, how are you doing, sir?
Doing very good. Thank you, Danny. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Uh,
Wonderful.
Another great day, another great episode that we're recording here. And today, on today's episode, we are going to be continuing our series on the club level leagues around the world. And today we're going to be talking about the top 14, which is the professional league for France. And as if you don't know, France was the winner of the Six Nations series this year, 2025. So yeah, so it's pretty cool to be digging down into this league with a lot of great players in the nation of France. So yeah, and I know you had mentioned, Rifle, that we've also have had South African players play in this league in recent years. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
been quite some time now. It's not recent.
okay.
I remember back in the day. I don't really, to be honest, I don't follow the French 14 league that much. I more follow players that I enjoy watching.
Mm-hmm.
So even back when England won the Rugby World Cup, a couple of years after they did that, their star fly half Johnny Wilkinson went to play in France. So I followed him while he was there and
Okay.
his career over there. So a lot of players, I think Dan Carter for New Zealand also went there for a while. But South Africa, we had back in the day, Bismarck du Plessis went over, Bakkies Botha, he went to play there. A big reason for South Africans going there is because French money is good.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to South Africa, our finances now, our money, our rand is trash. So if you can go play a couple of seasons in a country like France and get a nice couple of dollars or whatever they pay them in there to put away for your family when retirement does finally come, because it comes for everyone, and you can't live off the rest of your life with the money that you made while you were playing. So you've got to prepare for the future. So a lot of South Africans went over and played in the club rugby system in France. It's big, it's tough. France sell out every game. We spoke about smaller clubs in England and in Ireland and things like that, where France, they have the same but very staunch supporters of their area. So you get Toulouse, Toulon, you got Bordeaux, you got all these places, and every game that they play, their home fields, they sold out, and people follow. So there's a big love for rugby in France, which makes it more exciting. There's a lot of energy. And then, as you can just see, even in the Six Nations, but the French stadium itself, when you play at home in France, it's hostile, it's hard. Man, the whole France just arrives there. So it's something that America doesn't have, because even in America, if you play in the basketball or the baseball or whatever, even in America over here, it's called, the World Series, where people from other countries laugh at that because it's not the World Series. You play amongst yourselves, yet you call yourself, world champions or World Series. Where in other countries, like I say, in France or South Africa like that, we don't have that. So when you have, even in America, if you have the biggest, like the NFL final, you got two teams playing against one another. And I've mentioned this before, but they're all singing the same national anthem. Whereas in rugby, you don't have that. You have this at the end where countries are playing against each other. And it's like, really, you've got people from different worlds and different cultures and different religions and ethnic groups like against each other. So it's just so much, you can actually feel it there. And there are two national anthems, not just one. But the French love their rugby. So yeah, currently the biggest name that was just over there would be Sia Kolisi for South Africa. So just after the 23 World Cup, sorry, he left. He was playing for the Sharks, left, and then he went to play for Racing. Uh, you remember that whole debacle? They didn't do well. They said it was his fault. He was fat. He was predictable. He wasn't playing well. So they could work out a deal. He went back to the Sharks right after he got back, played for the Springboks. Didn't look fat, didn't look complacent, didn't look like he was comfortable. He played really well for the Springboks. That was in our summer series last year. We had a great series as the Springboks. He did very, very well. But the other one, Cheslin Colby, he used to play in France. He's now in Japan, but he played there for a while. So yeah, I don't follow, but I follow players that go over there. And currently, not right now, but last year, I think maybe due to injury, some of our players, even from South Africa, like Paul Willemse, is lock. He plays for the French team, so he plays in one of their sides as well. So that's all I really know about the French. They're Super 14.
Yeah, it is interesting, that whole dynamic of the world of rugby, when these teams, and especially with something that we've spoken probably very briefly about, was not only do they play in their specific leagues, but the top 14 is also part of the, what's called the, and I'm trying to remember now, the European Professional Rugby Club, which is another league, that takes the top players from the URC, from the Premiership, from the top 14, and then they have, you know, a whole nother set of games within that, and and the champion is crowned within that group
Yeah,
of teams from the different leagues. So yeah, it's very interesting that you have that going on, the whole international scene of rugby, like you had mentioned, as opposed to America. Most
mm,
every American league, well, except for, you may have, like in the NBA, you have a Canadian team, the Toronto Raptors,
yeah,
the
or the ice hockey.
NHL, yeah, NHL
Yeah,
hockey, you have
got
that
the
as
same.
well.
Correct. Yeah,
But that's about it. It's only one or two
one or
teams.
two teams. Yeah,
Yes,
of the other countries. That's right.
but it's mostly American teams. So yeah, it all comes down to, and we've spoken about this many times, the culture of rugby is, it's it's quite different from your. And I'm not saying that in a negative way or a positive way.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's
different
just different. That's
from
all. It's
the,
not right. It's not wrong. It's just different.
yeah, from the what I've always grown up on, which is the, for lack of a better term, the Americanized culture of sports. So yeah, it's very, very interesting and really cool to see.
Yeah, because even if you take, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but if you have American football and then you have the Canadian Football League, even the rules in those two games are a little
Oh
different. It's
yes,
football, but the rules are different.
very different.
So it's not to say that you make it in the NFL, you're going to make it there, or vice versa. You can just come over here where rugby, the rules are the same, whether you start at the bottom of the world and you start in the southern hemisphere, the most southern tip of South Africa, and you go all the way to the most northern part of the world and you play there. You can have one ref that's going to ref. It's the same rules, the same scrum, same line out. Everything works the same. So that's a nice thing about rugby, that it transcends borders. It's not a different rule here and a different rule there. It's the same everywhere. So if you know how to play rugby as a 4 or 5 year old in South Africa, you can play rugby as a 45-year-old in England. It doesn't change. So that's one thing that makes it stronger than, for example, the NFL that is just in America.
Yeah.
So that's a nice thing that boosts rugby, I believe.
Yes, yes, it does. And so yeah, it's pretty cool to see. So let's get right to it and discuss the top 14 here. So as we see here, these are the 14 teams in the league. That's why it's called the top 14. And so I was just looking through the different players of the different teams, and the two teams that stuck out to me, because and again, this is just from watching the Six Nations this year and watching the French team and all the different players that were on the French national team during the Six Nations. So yeah, the two teams that I was like, okay, I know that player, were Toulouse Stadium, and these are the English translations of these teams. And
Mm.
then we have, and for all the French speaking audience, please forgive me if I butcher your language. The Bordeaux Beglas Union, I probably butchered that. So yeah, those are the two teams that, for example, Toulouse, we have Antoine Dupont, who's currently rehabbing an injury that unfortunately he got during the Six Nations. Um,
Right, that was a big thing where they were talking, was it on
yes,
purpose? They played Ireland, and
Ireland.
so it was a big thing where the prop came over and ran into him. Did he do it? Did he hurt his leg purposely? So he's still recovering from that, yeah. But
Yeah.
let me ask you this, Danny, Bordeaux, what do you know about Bordeaux? Where have you ever
Well,
heard that name before?
uh,
Champagne and famous wines?
yes, yes. Okay, I know I heard it from something.
Yeah. So
I
that's
was
from
just
that
about
Bordeaux.
to say alcohol.
Yeah, that Bordeaux district. That's that whole area where they are over there. So
Yes,
people who don't even know rugby or anything, they know something about France as their wines and champagnes, and there's a whole area of Bordeaux. So that's that club is
there you
Bordeaux. That's
go.
that's them.
So that's another reason for everybody to start watching rugby. There you go.
There you go.
Some good rugby and some good wine as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the other player from Toulouse was, I remember mentioning uh, this player a few times during the Six Nations. And again, for if you haven't watched our Six Nations series, please go do that. We break down what the Six Nations is about and just go through the 5 rounds of matches there during those episodes. So the other player that I recognized was, because I jokingly was saying this man, he always, again, he's 25 years old. He's man. He's not a young kid. Um, was Angel Capuroso, who played for Italy during the Six Nations. So he also plays for Toulouse. And I remember just watching him, his quickness, very quick. So yeah. And then the two players for Bordeaux was, again, another player that caught my eye during the Six Nations was Luis Bieri.
A double
Uh,
barrel BB name.
yes. So yeah, another player that was just amazing during the Six Nations. Felt like when I was watching the French games, this again, this kid who's 20, I think he's 21 now, so pretty young, was just everywhere. I mean, he was involved in tackles. He was scoring tries. He was running down the field. It felt like he was everywhere. Every time you looked at the screen, he was involved in the play. So yeah, and also for Bordeaux, Damien Pinard. I was joking with you, right? For uh, I believe during the Six Nations, he had just come back from being suspended. He's the troublemaker on the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's one in every league. Just uh, and I'm not saying that he's this severe, but he's I don't know if you know the NBA player Draymond Green, who plays for the Golden
Yes.
State Warriors,
Yes.
who's always causing trouble. But it's funny because um, when you look at players like that, yes, they cause trouble, but most teammates will tell you they want a player like that on their team
Yeah,
who's gonna
definitely.
fight
Like
for them.
Dennis
And
Rodman back in the day.
yes, yes, another great example. Yes,
Yeah,
they cause trouble, but they'll go up, you know, they'll
right.
support the teammates and everything, and they'll
Yeah,
fight for their team. So yeah,
yeah. Now,
so that.
something interesting here, in the previous World Cup, the Springboks played against France in the quarterfinals,
Mm,
and Rassie took out our regular scrum off at that stage, Faf du Plessis, and they put in Kobus Reinach. And people wondered, why would he do a thing like that? Because Faf didn't make any mistakes. He was playing well. Why would you take him out after he played in the preliminary rounds to get to the quarters?
mm,
And now you play Kobus. But Kobus was playing in France. So he was playing against the French players week in and week out. So Rassi took that as he has more experience playing the French, knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses. So he didn't have to, before the game, the week before, go and watch video and study the guys because he's been playing the whole year with them. So he knows the ins and outs of all of their moves.
mm.
So he took Faf out and he put Kobus in. And, we were very fortunate to win by a point. But just little things like that, where people look at Rassi and wonder, why in the world are you doing that? What are you doing? There's a reason behind every single thing he does. And he said in a conference afterwards, he said Kobus was playing with him all year long. I mean, wouldn't it just be automatic to put a guy like that in that knows them? So that was a reason. But there's another one that played over there and came to benefit South Africa a lot during the World Cup.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would make sense if you have a player that's very familiar with players uh, that you're playing against.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
week
it
in
does
and
make
week out,
sense.
practicing with them, knowing all their moves.
Cool, cool. So yeah, those are the players that again I just wanted to mention just because they're just from in my head because of recently because of the Six Nations. Um, so yeah, so here you see the all 14 teams and Racing 92 I know has your favorite player, Owen Farrell. I always have to put that in.
Yeah, he's there now. And that's where Sia Kolisi went, was to racing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, and something that we're going to talk about in a bit. Racing 92 had a big win to move up in the standings. Not necessarily that they're going to be in the playoffs, but there's another reason why it was a big win that we'll talk briefly about later on in this episode, and something that I found interesting as well. So, as always, me being a huge stadium fan, just, oh, I got ahead of myself, Rifle.
I was just going
We
to say, what
first
about
got
the
to
point
talk about
system?
the league format. I love stadium so much that I got ahead of myself. So yeah, so here's the league format. So there's 14 clubs, uh, and each club plays every other team twice. So that's 26 matches for the regular season. The top six teams at the end of the season on the point table, on the table, what they call the table, which is the point system, move on to the playoffs. Now, here's the slight difference from the other leagues is like in American football and the NFL, the top two teams, one from each conference, the American Conference and then the American Football Conference, National Football Conference. The number one team in each conference gets a bye in the first round of the playoffs. And that is the case also in top 14, where the top two teams get a bye. They don't play in the first round of the playoffs. So those top two spots are very, very critical to teams that are battling it out in the top six. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting to see. And then obviously the semifinals, uh, the first ranked team plays the winner of game two between the fourth and fifth ranked team, and then the second ranked team plays the winner of game one in the quarterfinals, which was is played between the third and sixth ranked team in in the quarterfinals, and then obviously the winner of those two games meet in the finals. Now for the point system, so and I actually forgot to delete something here, so please everybody forgive me. I forgot to delete this. The point system, it's not 5 points if you score four more tries scored. Please forgive me, I forgot to delete that. That's actually not the case. It's a 4 points for a win, and then if the winning team scores three or more tries than the losing team, then they get a bonus point. So it's three or more tries than the opponent. And then you also get a bonus point if you lose by 5 points or less. So that's the point system for the league. Again, that 5 points if you score four tries or more, it's not the case. I just forgot to delete that. So my apologies. And then as the from the time of this recording, you can see here the top six teams that would make it to the playoffs if the season had ended this past weekend. So yeah, and as you can see, the top two teams, Toulouse again,
Loose,
please
yeah.
forgive my pronunciation, and Bordeaux are the top two. Currently, they are the top two battling for that bye in the first round of the playoffs. And as you know, Rifle, it is a huge advantage if you have a bye in the playoffs because your players get to rest a little bit more or have an extra week of rest. And also, you have extra time to prepare for, obviously, you don't know which opponent you're going to play, but you have more time and you prepare for both opponents.
Yeah,
So you have
correct.
more time to prepare.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
nice to be in that position if you can be.
Yes, because as we know, in professional sports, especially in rugby, it's a long season. Your body gets beat up, and if you have an extra week to prepare your body and heal, that's a huge advantage. Um, Being in that situation in the playoffs. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And the other thing that I wanted to mention now, the other interesting thing about this league and rugby is the two lower ranked teams, which is number 13 and 14. So what's interesting, Rifle, is if after all the games are played, you're ranked 14, you get demoted to what they call Division 2, Pro Division 2. The top 14 is Pro Division 1.
So
So
like with
yeah,
soccer, you get relegated.
yes, relegated. Thank you. That's the actual term that is used.
Yeah.
Is relegated to Division 2. And the 13th ranked team, after all games are played in the regular season, have to play the finalists in the Pro 2 division. So essentially, what happens is whoever is the champion in the Pro 2 division automatically goes to Pro 1 division, to the top 14. And the 13th ranked team in the top 14 has to play the finalist in the Pro 2 division. And whoever wins that game, if it's the Pro 2 division finalist, they move up to the top 14, and the 13th rank goes down to the Pro 2 division. Or if the 13th ranked team wins, obviously they stay in the top 14 league, the Pro Division 1. So yeah, so that was interesting. And what I love about that is not only are you paying attention to the top 6 teams because they play in the playoffs, if you rank in the top 6 in the league, I'm sure a lot of people are paying attention to that bottom of the league as well, because that's interesting, because you don't want to be that team that gets relegated to Pro 2 division, but you also don't want to be that team that's 13th ranked and have to play the Pro 2 division finalists and potentially get relegated to Division 2 as well. So yeah, that's interesting, because the bottom, I'm sure people pay attention to those two spots as well, because it's a huge
especially if it's your
significance.
home club.
Yes.
If you travel around with them, and so that last game, you just want to stay in league number one. You're
Hmm.
really like hoping and pushing for your team to go through so you don't get relegated. So those last, 13, 14, number 12 teams, they really get nervous to the end of the season because they want their team to stay in league number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And I don't know, I may be wrong, but I'm sure for other fans from other teams as well, they usually look at those teams and they're like, okay, it's somewhat interesting, because they want to see, okay, who's going to stay in the top 14 and who's going to pretty much get kicked out.
yeah, very much so.
So yeah, so that's why I had mentioned Racing 92. They won, and again, Paul Paul Section, I think it's, if I'm pronouncing it, they dropped to number 11. So yeah, so they're getting dangerously closer to that 13th rank. So yeah, you don't want to be put in that position.
No,
So yeah, that was um, pretty cool to see. And again, um, I guess here in America, it's a little different, because I mean the NFL. I mean, you have college, but you can't put an NFL team in the college against
no.
college teams, so that wouldn't work. I guess really the only sport, maybe basketball and baseball, they have minor league teams, but yeah, I don't see that.
Mm.
There's billions of dollars in American franchises, so no team owner is gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for that. We'll go to Division 2 if we lose. Yeah, no American sports owner team will agree to that.
Most definitely.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting to learn about the league. Okay, so now we could go to the different stadiums here. So yeah, um, and again, this is um, not to diminish any of the other countries, but again, just talking about the finances. Like you had just mentioned, France. They pay their rugby players better um, because of, not to go into an economics lesson, but because of the worth of the franc, it's worth more. The whole exchange thing that we won't get into, because this is not an investing class. But yeah, France tends to pay their players better, so and they invest a little more in their stadiums. So you tend to see a more what I would say like what I consider to be a stadium. Again, just coming from an American perspective. So yeah,
Mm.
we have the stadiums here. And again, France, these teams were founded in, we're talking about late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, look
So
at
yeah,
Lyon there, 1896.
yes.
They have
So
a
there's
rugby
been,
team since then. I mean, that's amazing.
yes. And this, the top 14 was actually officially founded in 1892.
Mm.
So obviously it has gone through different names over the course of 100 and what's been done 130 132 years, give or take. So
Mm.
it's gone through different names and everything, but it was founded in 1892. So yeah, so it's a long rich history of rugby in France, just like it is in England and Ireland and Wales and Scotland as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see. Um, so I was just looking through all these. Uh, the Racing 92 stadium, they actually play indoors. It's a indoor arena. So yeah, that was I think that's out of all the stadiums between all the leagues, I think that's probably the only indoor one that I've seen out of all the stadiums. If I may be mistaken, but if my memory serves correctly, that's the only indoor stadium out of all of them that I've seen. And uh, the Toulon stadium was pretty cool to see as well. So so yeah, again, these are all the different stadiums. Again, all these teams were founded over 100 years ago. I believe there's one team that was founded fairly recently. Bordeaux. Bordeaux was founded in 2006. So yeah, that's the most recent team that was founded, and that's pretty cool. That the Bordeaux Stadium kind of looks like an Olympic stadium, the oval shape. Where you
Yeah.
have the track and field and everything. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. I just wanted to show all the different stadiums. Now, the two these are actually two plays that I wanted to highlight here. The the first play that I wanted to highlight was, I know we had spoken about this when we were talking about when we were doing our Six Nations episodes. Rifle is the speed um, of France. They just, I mean, once they start attacking and moving the ball, it's lights out. It's very hard for you to catch them once they gain steam and start running. And we
Especially on the outer side there,
yes,
they got big centers, but once you get it to the wings or the back, the fullback coming in, they really their wings and fullback, those three coming into the line, they're really fast.
yes, and um, uh, you mentioned that I was just about to say is, I can't tell you how many times during the Six Nations, when France was playing, didn't matter who they were playing, you would see Louis Bierberry, BB,
Mm.
uh, just on the, I mean, it's funny because you'll watch him, on a few occasions he'll make the tackle and then he'll go out of the screen. Next thing you know, he has the ball scoring a try. You're like, where the heck did this guy go? He's so quick.
Yeah, so
He'll
that
be on the
makes their
outside scoring.
backline very dangerous because you got Dupont, who's extremely fast off the mark. He's
Yes.
fast, but especially off the mark. So once he's got going, if he can just get through a gap, a tiny little gap, and put the ball away, and they get them to the outside to the wings, then they're really, really dangerous.
Yes, they are. They're fast, and
Good to watch.
once they get going, there's
Yeah,
very few people that are going to catch them.
French flair is amazing to watch when it's not your team playing against them.
Yes. If it's the Springboks, hey, slow down. Calm down.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
go.
they French, their flair is amazing. They're so good at that.
So yeah, so I just wanted to highlight one of the plays here, and let me just make this a little bigger here. So I just wanted to highlight this play here. It just proves points that we just made. So we had this past weekend we had Toulouse playing against Castre. I forgot the name of the team. It's Castre something. So please forgive me, top 14 league fans. But it wasn't close to to lose. I think the final score was something like 52 to like 7 or something like that. So yeah, it wasn't a close game. But I wanted to highlight this play because it just matches what we just said about the French. So right here we have, if you can see my green little highlighter here, this is the pass of the ball to this player right here, and from there you just see the quickness of the French players. So I'm just gonna play this, boom, and he just splits, and look at that. I mean, not a chance. It's like you just said, once they get to the outside and find a hole,
Yeah.
and they go through that gap, and you have all your other teammates that are just as fast as you are, or if not faster, and they create that line going towards the try. That's it. You have no chance.
Danny, just
They're
go
gonna
back,
score.
sorry, to the beginning of that when you were showing, when the ball was passed, right to the beginning.
Okay, right here.
Look at the white team.
Yep.
There are a couple of problems there in their back line already. Can you see yes, that guy. Can you see the gap between the last and the second last in the field? There's problem number one. There's a huge gap there. And then second, can you see they're not in a straight line?
Yep.
Can you see one is in front? So you got
The
one player, and
zigzag.
these guys are on defense. It's not like you're the attacking team, so you got to pass the ball backwards.
Mhm.
If you're on defense, you must be in a straight line. So number one, that's not a straight line at all. And number two, your wing or your final defender here that looks like maybe 3-4 meters from the second guy from the end. So if we watch again, let's see how Toulon uses that gap over there, and they find the gap in the other back line.
Yep. Here we go. So
Look
right
there.
here, this is what you mentioned.
Right, look at that now. Now, I mean, there's that's like we say in Afrikaans, that's as big as a barn door. You must just pick which one you want to go through. I mean, now you've got their three players all going for the ball, and you've got two black jerseys on the outside who can do anything. If they get the ball, they're going to run around them because these guys have got their backs against the ball. They're not looking, and it's just mayhem. You absolutely can't put yourself in a position like that to start off your defense with.
Yes, and I think um, um, the other thing that I just well I noticed before, but you just reminded me, Rifle, is the I think the reason why these gaps were so wide open is because of the speed of passing that France, not only do French players in the league work on, but France on the national team level also, they work a lot. You could tell they work a lot on passing,
Yes.
quickly, moving the
Yeah.
ball quickly.
Yeah.
So, and the reason I mention that is because this is where the play started from the
Right.
ruck.
Yeah.
So you can see in a matter of what, 2 seconds
2
tops,
seconds, yeah.
the ball goes from here to here. So, you know, when you pass the ball that quickly, your defense doesn't even have time to set up that line, as you say, because the ball
Right.
is moving so quickly. So that played a major factor in this play as well.
And now you got the problem with you got one black jersey with a ball, and you got three white players committed to one guy. Can you see the
Yes.
three white jerseys? They've got to go
One, two,
for
three,
that
right
guy
here.
now. So you got one player drawing three, and then you got two black guys on the side who there's no one to watch them. It's just you can't do that.
Yes, and as we just saw, what the play ended up being there, he splits the two, and there you go. So those wide gaps, as you say, are not good because that sets up the attacking team. If you have other players that are trailing you, it's very hard to recover when you have wide gaps like that with the speed of the opponents. I mean, it's essentially impossible. You're not going to catch them.
Yeah, you're done.
You are done for.
You just run to the back of the posts and take your position waiting for the kick.
Yes. Might as well conserve your energy and just jog to the post so that so you could watch the kick. So the second play that I wanted to highlight here is this one was interesting because um, if you could walk me through here. So we have again the rock point here, and it's interesting because I'm going to run this play. Boom. So you would think, okay, now this play has just been blown up. It's not going to go anywhere, but you'll be wrong because then this happens. And
Wow,
then we have the score.
what a play.
So yeah, so I saw I was just watching the highlights of the game. Again, I just want to just replay this really quick. Boom. You think the play is over? Nope, it's not over.
So you can see the ref put his hand out there. He's playing advantage.
Yes.
Doesn't blow, so that's good refing, giving the other guy see his hand out
Yep.
there.
There we go. So you
So
see your
yeah,
hand?
so to just give them advantage, see if they can make anything of this play, and they do. They get 7 points for it. I don't know if the kick went over, but it should. A 7 pointer from that, yeah. So that was good.
And this also a instance of the defense falling asleep. They saw that bump. They're like, oh, he got bumped. And then the guy was like, I don't care. I'm going to keep running.
Yeah, and look at the yellow team, yellow and blue. Look at them. They straight line. That's what you want your back line to look like in defense. No gaps in between, evenly spaced. That's a good defense system there.
Yeah, yep. There you go. So yeah, so that I just found that play very interesting. Where in in I liken this play to football. You know, some like you can see, whatever the situation, maybe you can see the opponent. Uh, you can see they commit a foul, but you do not stop playing until you hear that whistle.
Yep.
You don't, you know, uh, every coach will tell you in American football, I'm saying is you keep playing until you hear that whistle.
Rugby's the
Uh,
same. No
and rugby is
difference.
the same. You don't fall asleep on defense. You always got to be paying attention to where the ball is at, and you keep playing until you hear that whistle or you hear the referee call it back. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah. So that is everyone the top 14. And again, oh, let me just fix this here. Again, that is the uh, France's professional rugby league. Yeah, so a lot of great play, a lot of great players, and you can see that from them winning the Six Nations series. And I remember you mentioning, Rifle, that France is one team that you get a little nervous about when South Africa plays them because they're so good, so quick, and also they're very physical. So yeah.
And the problem with their team right now, and I say problem in terms of the Springboks, is they're young. So they're going to have another two World Cups at least with the guys that are playing now forming the core. They're still going to be around for 8 years. So for the next two World Cups, South Africa is going to have to face them. And they are, I mean, they're hard, they're physical, they bring it to you, they're very clever. But, you know, what we said in the very, very first or second program, different countries have different styles of rugby.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Springboks, they like to run over you, they go through you. But France has got flair. They swing that ball out of the most, you think they're dead. They're in their own 22 and they just start passing and running. And the speed that those guys have is just amazing. So the core group that they have now is young and they're still going to be around for another two World Cups. So that's not something that I'm looking forward to at all for South Africa.
Yes, it's gonna be a tough
Going to
tough
be good
play.
rugby.
Yes, good rugby. Uh, and Rifle said that I have to root for South Africa, so uh, otherwise we will not be friends anymore. So go South Africa.
There we go.
So we can't end this episode without showing some love to the Women's Six Nations that concluded this past weekend, and gotta say congrats to England. They are the Women's Six Nations champions this year, 2025. And they did it in dominating fashion. Grand Slam, which means they won all 5 games in the Six Nations. However, they had a very tough last game. As you can see here, England 43, France 42. Um, so yeah, so it was a tough game, especially in the last quarter of um, of the game, in the last 20 minutes of the game. France was really giving it to England, and they got within 1 point. And unfortunately, the game ended with a knock on by France, and that pretty much ended the game. So, yeah, it was a great game. Everybody expected it to be a great game, and that it was. It was a great game. And so yeah, so there you go. And it was funny because I remember I was mentioning to you, Rifle, just looking at the scores, I was like, how did England get 28? How's that possible? How
Yeah.
did they get from? And then I forgot you get 3 bonus points for the Grand Slam, so they
Mm.
got 25 for the win, and then the 3 extra bonus points for the Grand Slam, and that's how they ended up with 28.
Yeah. So in that game, 45, 85 points.
Yes.
That's a lot of points in one rugby game, eh? So yeah, that was a cracker of a game.
Yes, so much respect to the England women's team and to the French team as well for a hard fought game, but France fell short by 1 point at the end.
And
And
they'll probably meet soon again in the World Cup, so they
yes,
can have their opportunity to get back. But as we've said many times, England are just it's theirs to lose. You know, they're number
yes,
one ranked and they won this, but people are saying they'll win the World Cup as well. So we'll see how that goes.
yes, and if they continue to play like they play in the Six Nations,
No
I
one
could
can
see
take
that
them.
happening. Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that happening definitely. And as we had mentioned before when we spoke about the upcoming Women's World Cup, which is going to be hosted by England. The U.S. is their first game is going to be against England, so uh, it's gonna be it's gonna be a tough start for the U.S. I'm going to be rooting for the U.S., but it's gonna take. Please forgive me, U.S. women's team, Eagles. Please forgive me, but it's going to take an act of God for you to win. If England plays to the
In
best of their
all game.
ability, it's going to be a tough
Tough
task.
day in the office.
Yes. So yeah. So the one play that I wanted to highlight here is England is the France in on the women's side, and what I mean by that is uh, England is just like the French men's team is. They take the ball, they move it quick, they move it to the outside, and once they move it to the outside, that's you have no chance. They're gonna score. And I wanted to highlight this play here. Here we go. Oh, so this is England against France. This is obviously the game that was played, and right here again, England form a rock, and there you go. And this is actually a kick, perfect kick,
Hmm.
and that's what you call a perfectly executed play. Just play that one more
Very
time.
good.
So pass, 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 perfectly executed kick, speed, get the ball, more speed, try.
Beautiful try. Oh, wow, that's great.
So yes, so the women's English team reminds me of France men's team, where they just move the ball, they attack, they're quick, and once they start attacking, that's it. It's very hard for you to catch them. So again, congrats to the women's England for winning the 2025 Women's Six Nations. So yeah, pretty cool. Very exciting games. So there you go, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode, Rugby with Rifle, and gonna be excited for our next episode as well, Rifle, because our next episode we're going to be talking about the players that were selected for the British and Irish Lions tour 2025, which is going to be kicking off at the end of June.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's going to
So
be
yeah,
great.
so next week those players are going to be selected, and we will be talking about that in our next episode. So yeah, tune in to next week's episode, everyone. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool to talk about. So again, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Rifle, thank you as always, my
Thank you for
friend.
watching, everyone.
And until next time, everyone, take care. Thank you for watching this episode of Rugby with Rifle. Remember to press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet to support this podcast.